Have you ever picked up a pair of scissors that used to cut perfectly, only to find that they now struggle with even the simplest tasks? Maybe they crush paper instead of slicing through it, pull at fabric, or leave uneven edges no matter how carefully you cut. Many people immediately throw away old scissors and buy a new pair. But for generations, people knew a simple truth: a good pair of scissors does not always need to be replaced. Sometimes it only needs a little care. Before modern sharpening tools became common, families had simple methods to bring dull scissors back to life using things they already had at home. These old-fashioned techniques were practical, inexpensive, and surprisingly effective. Today, we're going to look at the traditional ways people sharpened scissors at home, why these methods work, and how you can safely restore your scissors in just a few minutes. Because sometimes the oldest tricks are still the most useful. A sharp pair of scissors is not just about convenience. It saves time, prevents frustration, and helps you get cleaner results whether you are cutting paper, fabric, thread, plants, or household materials. But before sharpening anything, it is important to understand why scissors become dull in the first place. Every time scissors cut through a material, the two blades slide against each other with pressure. Over time, the sharp edges become worn down. Small imperfections develop along the blade, making it harder for the scissors to create a clean cut. Sometimes the problem is not even the sharpness. Dirt, glue, rust, or residue can build up between the blades and prevent them from closing properly. That is why the first step in restoring old scissors is always cleaning. Take a soft cloth and wipe the blades carefully. If there is sticky residue from tape, labels, or glue, a small amount of rubbing alcohol can help remove it. For light rust, gently rubbing the affected area with fine steel wool or a mild abrasive can make a big difference. Once the blades are clean, test the scissors. Sometimes a pair that seems dull simply needs maintenance. Now let's move on to the first traditional sharpening method, a technique many people remember from their grandparents' homes. Method 1. Sharpening scissors with aluminum foil. One of the easiest household tricks uses something almost everyone has in the kitchen: aluminum foil. This method has been passed down for years because it requires no special equipment and takes only a few minutes. Start by folding a sheet of aluminum foil several times until you have a thicker piece. The more layers you create, the more contact the blades will have with the foil. Then, cut through the folded foil repeatedly with your scissors. As the blades slice through the aluminum, the foil helps remove tiny imperfections along the cutting edges and can improve the scissors' performance. After several cuts, wipe the blades clean and test them on a piece of paper or fabric. This method works best for scissors that are slightly dull, not completely damaged or heavily worn. It is a quick refresh rather than a full professional sharpening. Another traditional household method uses something that might surprise you: a simple glass jar. Method 2. The glass jar technique. Before specialized sharpening tools were available, some people used glass containers to help restore scissors. To try this method, take an empty glass jar or bottle. Open the scissors and place the blades around the outside of the glass. Then gently move the scissors as if you are trying to cut the glass. Of course, you are not actually trying to cut through it. The goal is to create gentle friction between the blade edges and the smooth glass surface. This movement can help polish the cutting edges and remove tiny rough spots. However, this method should be done carefully. Never apply excessive force, because pressing too hard can damage the scissors or create unnecessary stress on the blades. Use gentle movements and test the scissors afterward. This technique is best considered a light maintenance method, especially for older household scissors that have lost some sharpness. Now, there is another old-fashioned trick that many gardeners, tailors, and craftsmen used because it was simple and effective: using sandpaper. Method 3. Sandpaper sharpening. Fine sandpaper can help refresh scissors that have become less effective over time. Choose a fine grit sandpaper rather than a very rough one. Coarse sandpaper can scratch the blades too aggressively. Fold the sandpaper so that the abrasive side faces outward. Then make several cuts through the sandpaper using the scissors. As the blades pass through the abrasive material, small imperfections along the edge can be smoothed out. Afterward, clean the scissors carefully because tiny particles from the sandpaper may remain on the blades. This method is especially useful for craft scissors, garden scissors, and utility scissors. However, remember one important rule: not every pair of scissors should be sharpened the same way. High-quality sewing scissors, kitchen scissors, and professional tools may require more careful treatment because their blade angles are designed specifically for certain materials. Using the wrong method too aggressively can actually make them perform worse. The secret that old generations understood was simple: maintenance matters. They did not wait until tools became completely useless. They cleaned them, adjusted them, and cared for them regularly. A pair of scissors that receives occasional attention can last for many years. And there is another forgotten technique that does not involve sharpening at all but can make old scissors work like new. It is checking the tension. Many people assume dull scissors always need sharper blades, but sometimes the real problem is that the blades are no longer meeting correctly. Look closely at the point where the two blades come together. If the scissors feel loose, the blades may slide past each other instead of creating the pressure needed to cut. Many scissors have a small screw or bolt connecting the two blades. Tightening it slightly can restore the proper contact between the edges. Do not tighten it too much. The blades should move smoothly without being loose. A small adjustment can sometimes make a bigger difference than sharpening. Another traditional method that many households used involved something simple, inexpensive, and easy to find: a sharpening stone. For generations, people relied on sharpening stones to maintain knives, scissors, and other metal tools. While scissors require a little more attention than a knife, the basic idea remains the same: carefully restore the edge by removing tiny amounts of worn metal. Method 4. Using a sharpening stone. If you have a sharpening stone at home, you can use it to improve the cutting ability of your scissors. The most important thing is patience. Scissors are not sharpened by aggressively rubbing the blades back and forth. The goal is to carefully maintain the original angle of the cutting edge. First, open the scissors completely. If possible, separate the blades by removing the connecting screw. This makes the process much easier because you can work on each blade individually. Hold one blade against the stone with the angled side touching the surface. Move the blade along the stone in smooth strokes, following the natural angle of the edge. Avoid pressing too hard. Sharpening is not about force, it is about consistency. After several passes, check the blade carefully. You do not need to remove a lot of metal. Even small improvements to the edge can make a noticeable difference. Repeat the process on the second blade. When finished, clean the blades and apply a tiny amount of oil to the moving parts before putting the scissors back together. This small step helps reduce friction and keeps the scissors working smoothly. But what if you do not have a sharpening stone? There is another old household method that people often used when they needed a quick solution. Method 5. Sharpening with a needle or sewing pin. This technique is one of the oldest quick fixes for slightly dull scissors. Take a strong sewing needle, pin, or thin metal rod. Open the scissors and place the needle between the blades near the base. Then gently close the scissors around the needle while sliding it toward the tips. The idea is to create controlled friction along the cutting edges. Repeat this several times, then test the scissors. This method will not transform badly damaged scissors into brand new tools, but it can help with scissors that simply need a quick refresh. It was especially useful in homes where people repaired and maintained everything instead of replacing items. And that brings us to an important lesson from the past. Older generations often treated everyday objects differently. They repaired things before buying replacements. They maintained tools because they understood their value. A pair of scissors was not just another cheap household item. It was something that could be used for years, sometimes even passed down through generations. That mindset is worth remembering today. However, there are also some common mistakes people make when trying to sharpen. Scissors at home. Avoiding these mistakes can save your scissors from permanent damage. Mistake number 1. Using extremely rough materials. One of the biggest mistakes is choosing an abrasive material that is too harsh. Some people believe that rougher means faster results. But scissors are precision tools. Removing too much metal or damaging the edge can make them cut worse. The goal is not to reshape the entire blade. The goal is to restore the fine edge that already exists. Gentle methods usually produce better results. Mistake number 2. Sharpening the wrong side of the blade. A pair of scissors is different from a kitchen knife. Many scissors have a specific cutting edge designed to work when the two blades meet. Randomly sharpening every surface can destroy the original design. When maintaining scissors, focus on the angled cutting edge and avoid unnecessary changes to flat surfaces. Mistake number 3. Forgetting to clean and lubricate. Even sharp scissors can perform poorly if they are dirty or dry. Dust, fibers, and sticky residue can prevent the blades from closing properly. After sharpening, always wipe the blades clean. A small drop of machine oil on the screw area can help the scissors open and close smoothly. Remember, sharpening restores the edge, but maintenance keeps it working. Mistake number 4. Testing on the wrong material. After sharpening, many people immediately test scissors on thick cardboard, plastic packaging, or tough materials. This can put unnecessary stress on freshly sharpened edges. Instead, test with ordinary paper first. A sharp pair of scissors should cut smoothly without forcing the blades together. For fabric scissors, test on a small piece of fabric. For garden scissors, test on a thin branch or plant stem. Always match the test material to the purpose of the scissors. Now let's talk about one of the most interesting traditional tricks using everyday household items to improve scissors without actually sharpening them. Sometimes the problem is friction. When blades become dry, they do not move smoothly. They may feel heavy, catch during cutting, or leave uneven results. A small amount of lubrication can completely change how they feel. Many older households kept a small bottle of oil specifically for maintaining tools. After cleaning the scissors, place one small drop near the screw or pivot point. Open and close the scissors several times to spread the oil. Then wipe away any excess. The difference can be surprising. A pair of scissors that seemed old and useless may simply have needed cleaning and proper care. There is also another traditional material that has been used for generations to maintain metal tools: wax. A small amount of natural wax can help protect metal surfaces and reduce moisture exposure. This was especially useful in places where tools were stored in damp environments. Although modern products exist today, the basic principle remains the same: protect your tools so they do not deteriorate. The old-fashioned approach was never about complicated equipment. It was about understanding how things worked. People observed their tools, noticed problems early, and fixed them with simple solutions. And scissors were one of the most commonly maintained items in the home. From sewing rooms to kitchens, from gardens to workshops, sharp scissors made daily tasks easier. But there is one final traditional technique that many people forget, and it may already be sitting in your kitchen drawer. One of the simplest old household methods uses something almost everyone has at home: a metal jar lid. Before people had convenient sharpening tools, they often looked around the house and found creative ways to maintain everyday items. A metal lid, especially one made from sturdy steel, can provide enough friction to refresh slightly dull scissors. To try this method, hold the lid firmly and make several cutting motions around the edge. You are not trying to cut through the metal. The goal is to allow the blades to make contact with the surface in a controlled way. After several movements, clean the scissors and test them. This technique works best as a quick maintenance method when scissors are not severely damaged. The important lesson from all these traditional methods is that small problems can often be solved before they become bigger ones. A pair of scissors rarely becomes useless overnight. Usually, the decline happens slowly. First, they cut a little less smoothly. Then they begin pulling at materials. Eventually, people assume they are broken and replace them. But with a few minutes of care, many scissors can continue working for years. Now let's look at how to keep your scissors sharp for much longer after restoring them. How to make scissors stay sharp longer. The first rule is simple. Use each pair of scissors for the job they were designed for. Fabric scissors should not be used to cut cardboard. Kitchen scissors should not become a general-purpose tool for every material around the house. Garden scissors should not be used on wire or hard objects unless they are specifically designed for that purpose. Every material creates different stress on the blade. Using scissors correctly is one of the easiest ways to extend their life. The second rule is keeping them clean. After using scissors, especially in the kitchen or garden, wipe away moisture and residue. Food particles, plant sap, glue, and dust can slowly damage the blades. A quick cleaning habit can prevent many problems. The third rule is proper storage. Many old households had a specific place for tools because they understood that careless storage caused damage. Do not leave scissors loose in a drawer where the blades can hit other metal objects. A simple protective cover, cloth wrap, or separate compartment can prevent scratches and dulling. The fourth rule is occasional maintenance. You do not need to sharpen scissors every week. For most household scissors, occasional cleaning, lubrication, and minor adjustments are enough. Think of it like caring for any useful tool. Small attention prevents major repairs. Now, before you try any sharpening method, there is one more thing to consider. Not every pair of scissors is worth restoring at home. Very cheap scissors made from low-quality metal may not hold a sharp edge for long. If the blades are bent, cracked, heavily rusted, or damaged near the cutting edge, replacement may be the better option. But many good quality scissors can last decades with proper care. That is why older tools often seem special. They were maintained, repaired, and respected. A simple pair of scissors could stay in a family kitchen, sewing room, or workshop for many years because people knew how to look after what they owned. Today, we often live in a world where replacing something is easier than repairing it. But learning these traditional skills gives us something valuable. It saves money. It reduces waste. And it reminds us that many everyday objects still have plenty of life left in them. So the next time you find an old pair of scissors that struggles to cut, do not immediately throw them away. Start with the basics. Clean the blades. Check the screw. Remove any residue. Try a gentle sharpening method. Give the tool a little attention. You might be surprised by the results. Sometimes the difference between a useless object and a useful one is only a few minutes of care. And that is exactly why these old-fashioned techniques are still worth knowing today. The tools in our homes do not always need to be replaced. Sometimes they simply need to be restored. A sharp pair of scissors is a small thing, but it makes everyday tasks easier: wrapping gifts, preparing meals, sewing clothes, trimming plants, completing crafts, and handling countless household jobs. The next time you pick up your scissors and they glide smoothly through the material, remember that a little traditional maintenance can go a long way. Because sometimes the smartest solutions are not the newest ones. Sometimes they are the ones that have been working for generations. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed learning these simple old-fashioned home tips, make sure to subscribe for more practical ideas, forgotten household skills, and useful techniques that can help you save time, money, and effort every day.